Right now, I'm outside the Maryland Live Casino here in Hanover, Maryland. If you live in Maryland and you want to come gamble your life away, this is where you gotta go. You gotta walk through those doors, hear those machines, feel those lights, and hand over your money in person. But today, almost half of this casino's revenue doesn't even come from people in there. It comes from your phone. Gone are the days of needing a casino floor to place a bet. You don't need cash, you don't need to drive anywhere. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to stand up. You can gamble from your couch, your bed, from class, all from a mobile device that never ever leaves your pocket. Sports betting and prediction markets have absolutely taken over our world. You see them in social media feeds, YouTube, podcasts, TV, radio, streaming platforms. I mean, they are literally unavoidable.
Hello, Fortune.
Calling all Thrillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
Whatever makes it legendary for you, it can all happen here. BetMGM.
DraftKings.
DraftKings Sportsbook.
DraftKings Sportsbook.
Make it a place you'll never forget. BetMGM Sportsbook. Make it legendary.
Sports betting apps and prediction markets are not just games. They are literally designed for you to be able to not ignore them. And the consequences of them can be real and sometimes devastating. And to put all of this into context, today I'm joined by Dr. Ken Winters. Dr. Winters is a nationally recognized clinical psychologist, researcher, author, and expert on gambling addiction and addictive behaviors, with decades of peer-reviewed research conducted on the subject. Dr. Winters, thank you for joining me.
Hey, good afternoon. Hello, Tony. Pleasure to be here.
So, did I miss anything? You have a wide, vast career, so I want to make sure that I fully recognize you there.
A lot of it was focused on adolescents and issues they have with drug addiction. Our research team moved into the gambling area when our state legalized the lottery way back in the early 1990s, and we realized there was a lot of adolescent topics related to it, and so that got us to delve into it much deeper than perhaps we originally thought.
My first question for you today is, from a psychological standpoint, how does the shift from physical casinos to gambling on a phone change the risk of addiction?
It definitely changes it. I would think it elevates it for most people significantly. There's a lot more planning involved if you're going to a casino.
Right.
You know, how much money you're going to bring, how much time you're going to spend. You don't have as much access to ready-made, quick, high-risk type activities at a casino than you might online. Now, things can get risky, and there can be a lot of problems with impulse control when you're at a casino, but there are some natural, barriers to going over the top with that. But if somebody is vulnerable to risk-taking and has maybe difficulty delaying gratification or difficulty with impulse control, apps are engineered, unfortunately, I think, to promote and make people more vulnerable to excessive or more indulgent type gambling.
In 2018, the Supreme Court struck down a ban on sports gambling across the entire United States, a ban that was in place since 1992. Today, online sports wagering is legal in 38 states plus Washington, D.C., and that number is probably growing. Prediction markets are even newer and more concerning. Platforms like Kalshi don't even classify themselves as gambling, so they lack a lot of regulation and consumer protections that this casino would have to follow. So let's start with sports betting. According to the Associated Press, last year 14% of Americans placed an online sports bet. That's roughly 50 million people. And according to the American Gaming Association, Americans wagered over $150 billion last year. Billion with a B. To put that in perspective, that's more of the entire GDP of Croatia and Iceland combined. And most of it was lost. And these apps don't just compete for your attention, they literally engineer it. Push notifications, limited time promotions, odd boosts, risk-free bets, early access lines. On average, these apps are sending users 3 to 4 notifications per day, just begging you to log in and throw some money at them. Imagine if the casino could do that. Wouldn't that be kind of weird? At 9 a.m., hey, come play blackjack. At noon, hey, come play blackjack. At 4 p.m., hey, come play blackjack. At 8 p.m., hey, come play blackjack. Like, doesn't that seem just a little bit intrusive? Some apps will literally give you free money to bet with when you sign up, knowing that statistically, you're more likely to give it back and more. You've seen all the ads.
With DraftKings, new customers bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets and a month of NFL Plus Premium.
Download to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 on the house.
If your football bet loses, new customers get up to $100 back in fan cash on every single game day until October.
All customers, head to the DraftKings Sportsbook app to claim your free bet now.
What effect do these have on the brain of someone who's vulnerable to addiction?
I'm glad you brought the issue of the brain, or at least neurobiology, into the mix, because the brain basis for getting addicted to drugs is very similar to the basis and the phenomenon that can lead to a gambling problem. The brain reward system that we have, and they involve neurotransmitters, chemicals, and they involve activation of significant regions of the brain. All of them are wonderful for us humans because we use them to make sure we're healthy and survive and can pass on from one generation to the next.
Right.
But they also can be hijacked in some ways and create problems for people. And the way everything is engineered is in many ways taking advantage of our brain's reward system. So for some of us, we're more vulnerable to getting our reward system perhaps overexcited and lit up too much and have trouble pulling back and applying the brakes. For many of us, we're probably okay with it, and we can stay within sort of the entertainment zone as opposed to mental health or behavioral disorder arena. But it does speak to people's need to realize you can't fight biology at some level.
But once you're in, the app starts learning you. Every bet, every loss, every win, every time you hesitate, it's all tracked and it's all analyzed. And this isn't speculation. Behavioral analytics are literally programmed into these apps, and they have one simple goal: to keep you betting. And sports betting is frictionless. You log on, it takes seconds to place a bet, seconds to lose it, and seconds to place another one. Take parlays. These are the most popular form of bet that you can place on these apps. You combine multiple outcomes into one wager. The payout looks massive, the odds feel manageable, but if one leg fails, the entire bet disappears. For example, you place a bet that the quarterback is going to make 2 touchdowns this game, but the next leg of the parlay is that he's going to throw an interception. Well, the quarterback does make 2 touchdowns, but he never throws a pick. You think to yourself, damn, I almost did it. And it makes you want to try again, right? Psychologists call this the near miss effect. According to studies conducted by the American Psychological Association, almost winning activates the same reward center in your brain as winning. So consequently, your brain feels close enough to try again. And that's why parlays are pushed so aggressively. According to industry reports, parlays make up for 60% of all sportsbook revenue, despite being statistically the worst possible bet for consumers. You ever lose a parlay that you were absolutely sure was going to hit? That wasn't an accident, it was by design. And likely, you went and placed another one the next night. Can you explain the near miss effect and why bets like parlays are so psychologically powerful?
The person engaged in the activity and they're trying to get rewards and trying to win, you realize that you almost had a hit, you almost had a success. And so psychologically, that gives the person some encouragement of, well, I almost made it. In fact, if I keep engaging, I might learn how to, finally get my reward and avoid the miss. Because they make it's not a big miss, right? As you said, it's a near miss. And even parlays, often they're set up for maybe 3 or 4 choices. I got to believe the parlay makers, they want you to hit on 2 of them, but not 1.
Right,
so
exactly.
Of course, don't win. So they want you to have a near miss.
I think you're right. That's usually what happens. I mean, friends of mine do sports betting, and they'll have an 8-leg parlay. The first 6 are super easy to get. They get all 6. They maybe get the 7th, but the 8th one is the most difficult, and they never get it.
There you go. They're capitalizing, and so psychologically, it kind of lures people into, I'm probably pretty good at this because I got 6 out of 8 or 7 out of 8. I'm really close. When you're at a gaming machine and you see the near miss hit, you realize this machine is about to pay off. So it's that little extra psychological push for you to keep engaging or bet again. The activity of the brain, this sort of dopamine and reward systems, they light up in similar ways when you get a near miss as you do when you get a real hit. So that near miss is, it's also tricking the brain and the dopamine system and these reward systems to feel like you are pretty close, and it is rewarding. So it surely keeps the person engaged, but psychologically you're getting tricked.
These gambling apps also rely heavily on something called gamification, making the apps feel more like a mobile game than an actual real-life decision. Streaks, badges, leaderboards, confetti animations, they quite literally make it feel like you're not making a life decision, you are playing a game. Research published in the Nature Human Behavior shows that gamified gambling significantly increases risky behavior, time spent betting, and total life-altering losses.
There's entertainment, and then there's gambling. And the two can look very similar. And of course, one has minimal consequences. Entertainment means, well, I just didn't have as much fun because, I didn't get as many points. So you can imagine how somebody who's loves the gaming part of the entertainment world and they're playing it for fun, and they see that those games are engineered in ways that are very similar to the way gambling apps are engineered. It's an easy transition. It's unfortunate that free market capitalism does allow the gaming world to make it very entertaining for kids, and it gets young people wrapped up into these activities.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we're spending $500,000 one time on Roblox Wild. I'm so nervous because I just lost 500K on my other video, but we're gonna do it again.
But when you look at the parallels, you can see it in some ways. It's setting the stage for some individuals to realize, hey, this is easy for me to transition my skill and my thoughts and the psychology behind it from an entertainment-based activity to gambling. Sweepstakes, even the stuff that's not within the gambling arena or the games, the sweepstakes that occur at the marketplace, they kind of capitalize on all of this. Children have the same brain reward systems that us adults do. So it makes sense that people are packaging entertainment products that perhaps capitalize on the same systems that are activated when us adults engage in gaming. But one can see how it's a slippery slope.
This isn't a warning. This will happen eventually if you don't stop it. And as a matter of fact, it's already happened to a lot of people.
Online sports gambling went live in Ohio at the start of 2023. Vic Coley says he, like a lot of young men, started placing bets on sporting events through apps, occasionally for small amounts and for fun.
It was the new legal thing to do. Everyone was talking about it. There were advertisements everywhere.
He had no idea how serious a problem the gambling would become for his close friend Xavier.
He only showed me times he made money and when his bets won.
Though the reason for his death can't be known for sure, 2 days after 28-year-old Xavier placed this $10,000 sports bet and lost, he took his own life. NBC News is withholding Xavier's full name at the request of his family for privacy reasons.
I felt like I was just in the dark, hiding from myself.
Rob Minnick says he went into debt 6 times over the course of 6 years before finally handing control of his bank account over to his mom and getting help.
Would you say you had a severe gambling addiction?
Absolutely. When I say severe, I'm talking gambling 8 hours a day, compulsively betting, waking up thinking about the bets that you placed the night before.
Minnick now works full-time as an advocate to stop what he believes is a growing nationwide crisis.
I think we're going to see huge rates of bankruptcies, huge rates of divorces.
And at what point do you think people in this country are going to wake up?
When enough people have killed themselves.
Problem gambling is an American health crisis. According to the National Council on Public Gaming, 2.5 million U.S. adults meet the criteria for severe gambling disorder, and another 5 to 8 million have moderate gambling problems. And the most disturbing statistic of all, according to studies conducted by Johns Hopkins University, 1 in 5 people addicted to gambling will attempt or will die by suicide. That's a rate higher than many substance addictions. For comparison, that rivals the rate of suicide for military veterans and police officers. Millions of lives quietly at risk.
The one thing I think about with gambling disorder, in some ways it's related to the other disorders, and it's a metaphor that I was schooled by a wonderful colleague at Harvard named Howard Schaefer. And his analogy was gambling disorder is like a tornado. Here from the Midwest, we like that analogy.
Yeah, right. Everyone can picture that pretty easily.
Yes. And what do we know about tornadoes? Well, they're relatively rare, And in some ways, that is true about a gambling disorder. But when they strike, they're devastating. And they also wreak a lot of collateral damage. And so not only is the individual harmed, but usually loved ones are,
everyone
family
around
relatives,
them. Right,
even employers, because you might be stealing from, etc. It's devastating. It's definitely serious, and it makes sense that it's viewed that way by the professionals in the treatment world. And if you want to spend $2 on a lottery ticket, go for it. But it's gotten a little more over the top than that, hasn't it? How can anyone watch an NFL game if you're trying to pull back on sports betting because you've said I can't do it anymore, and then you just get inundated?
It's crazy. I mean, yeah, even in the broadcast, some of these NFL broadcasts are now quite literally sponsored by MGM Bet and FanDuel. I mean, it's it's pretty bad. And while this affects Americans of all ages, it seems like young men are the ones that are getting hit the hardest. Multiple studies show that over half of college-aged men have already placed a sporting bet online, and many of them have done it before they're even legally allowed to do it. All it takes is a phone number, a debit card, and a couple taps. Often age verification is weak or non-existent. And the thing is, public health researchers have warned about this for years. According to the Journal of Adolescent Health, early exposure to gambling significantly increases the likelihood of developing a lifelong addiction. The younger the brain, the deeper the habit. And this matters because your frontal lobe, the part of your brain that has to do with impulse control and risk assessment, isn't fully developed until you're in your mid-20s. We are handing casino-grade addiction technology to people whose brains are still under construction. And not just us, but our government.
When you look at the risk of developing a gambling problem and how early one starts to gamble, there is a strong relationship. So, for example, a national study done some time back showed that for those adults that were surveyed that had already in their adult life experienced 5 or more gambling problem symptoms. So it's not quite necessarily official diagnosis, but that's a lot of symptoms. Things like loss of control, preoccupation, lost more money than I wanted to. My point is that group, on average, they started to gamble when they were 16 years of age. So let's go to the other end of the sample. It was a national sample, and so still a lot of other people gambled, and there was a subset of them that had no adult symptoms. So you can make a case they were, healthy recreational gamblers, were kept responsible habits, etc. Their average age of starting was 25.
Wow.
I know, that's about almost 10, 11-year difference.
Right.
Thing. It's rare to find someone in treatment for a gambling problem. So, and usually you're not a young adult. Usually it's middle or older individuals. We can talk about that in a moment, why. But I think it's rare to find any of them saying that they waited till later in life to start gambling. It's virtually universal that all of them started early in life. But you often don't reveal serious symptoms when let's just take the young adults, the males, kind of 18 to 25. For some of them, when they hit 21, of course, it's legal, or they're getting access, etc. They're probably engaged in a lot of gambling, some of them, but not showing serious symptoms because, financially they haven't hit rock bottom. When you're a young adult, you don't have usually, obviously some exceptions, but a lot of financial responsibilities. So even if you're losing, I don't know, let's just say $1,000 a month, that might not devastate you. You still pay the bills. You're not getting hassled from a spouse or a girlfriend because maybe you're not living with someone else. And so you can keep skating along, but unfortunately you may be, laying the groundwork for a future problem because you're probably going to keep escalating your gambling. It's very hard for someone who likes gambling just to stay at a certain level of betting. Tolerance kicks in and usually the person escalates. But with young males, many of them still are in that, I call it the high risk, high reward seeking years. So, there's a lot of science now about how the brain develops during adolescence and young adulthood, and it doesn't fully mature until about age 25, roughly speaking. And during these developmental years, one sees that a person has less ability to delay gratification, is more likely to seek rewards. They're more sensitive to reward-seeking opportunities. They have greater difficulty controlling impulses, all the stuff that can lead to risky behaviors like driving too fast, getting involved in drugs, and gambling.
On TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch streams, you'll notice that gambling isn't presented as some kind of risk. It's now presented as just culture. And neuroscience explains why this is so dangerous. Studies from the National Institute on Drug Abuse show that repeated exposure to risk-reward systems rewires the brain's dopamine pathways, making you just itch to feel the same way you did the last time you hit big. And likely the last time that happened was probably months ago. Once risk feels normal, walking away becomes way harder. Now enough with sports betting, let's get into prediction markets. Platforms like Kalshi allow users to bet on real-world outcomes. We're talking elections, interest rates, wars, inflation, even odd one-off viral moments. But we don't have to get into that one specifically. Kalshi claims that it's a regulated financial exchange and not gambling. And because of that distinction, it can avoid many of the safeguards and regulations that this casino would have to follow. But something that's interesting is Kalshi isn't just reflecting reality, they're beginning to influence it. News outlets now cite betting odds alongside political polling, sometimes instead of it. Once money enters the narrative, perception shifts, and odds start to feel like forecasts. My best example of this is Zohran Mamdani. Before Mamdani won the New York City mayoral election, his odds of winning on Kalshi exceeded 60%. And we all know how that turned out, making betting literally kind of like a reliable forecast. And if you know anything about humans, we all like to be with the bigger, more popular team. So what's the result? Well, odds will start shaping belief. And belief starts to shape behavior, and behavior will shape outcomes. This is where gambling starts to blur into public policy. And there's another layer to all this: timing. These gambling apps have absolutely exploded in a time that is probably the worst for young Americans in decades. Wages are stagnant, homes are unaffordable, student debt is exploding, and these apps, they sell hope. They sell escape. They're marketing gambling as if it's something that you can win if you have the intelligence, if you have the skill, as a way out.
It began with ringside seats from BetMGM. That meant anything was possible. Like chatting with this guy. Soon the whole bar was pulling for that parlay. Make it a place you'll never forget. BetMGM Sportsbook. Make it legendary.
That means we don't just get a boat, we get a gold boat with a lion in the Bellagio fountain. And we're here in the UK to make every game an occasion. Woohoo!
But gambling is not an opportunity like they're trying to sell you. What it is extraction. And unlike a casino, there's no door to walk out of. There is no closing time. As if this was national television, and you could give a warning to the public about online gambling, assuming everyone's listening. What would you tell them?
Tony, most of them are listening. I know this is what I read. So online gambling, I'd say don't even engage in it if you have done an honest self-assessment, which I know is tough to do, and you've realized, I could be at risk to get too involved and too indulgent in an activity like this that has addictive potential. I think it's very tough for those highly vulnerable people with the psychological, social, and neurobiological risk factors to be a healthy, responsible online bettor. I think it's hard. And so for those folks, find your interests in something a lot healthier. But if you want to engage in it, there's certainly personal parameters you can set up to be a responsible player, but be smart with it. I think a lot of it, I would counsel someone, think about how much money you want to spend figure out what that means per day, per month, per year. And then also the whole issue of time, how much time. I'm going to stop here at the top of the hour. I see I got 25 minutes to go. And, set yourself, rational limits like that. One feature of individuals that get in difficulty with gambling is that they're a solitary gambler. They do it just by themselves. I think that creates a lot of isolation from potential social protections. So maybe you're going to be in a fantasy football league, or maybe you're going to, everyone, plays cards a few times a year, that kind of thing. So if you want to get your gambling itch satisfied, I think there's a lot of ways you can set it up socially that actually provides, a preventative feature to it.
Dr. Winters, I want to thank you so much for your answers today. You brought me great insight. I hope you brought the audience great insight as well. I hope they can resonate with what you said. Besides that, I hope the video at the very least can get people to maybe not quit online gambling, but at the very least question and be a little, practice a little skepticism.
Exactly. Bet smartly, bet responsibly, and for some of us, maybe we shouldn't engage, or got to pull back and take big-time vacations from the activity. But if you're able to do that, then okay, I can work in those vacations regularly, and that might help my plan for responsible gaming.
Well, Dr. Winters, thank you so much for your time. It was an honor that you considered speaking to me today. Thank you so much.
Very thoughtful, Tony.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir, and continue on with the research. I will be watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, sir.
I got an interview with a psychologist.
If you or someone that you know is struggling with gambling, help does exist. But if you're not, these apps demand your skepticism. They are designed to hook you. They're designed to keep you logging on and to keep you spending. This whole video is not just about gambling. It's about ethics. It's about public safety. And possibly in the future, it could be about democracy. Question everything. Protect your mind, and don't gamble with your future. I'm Tony, this is Maryland Live, and I'm telling you, please stop before it's too late. Thank you for watching Downtown Dialogue, and I'll see y'all in the next one.